rock and roll. Good morning and welcome to On the Line in 60 frames per second. I am your host, Eric Walker. Got a special show for you today, special edition, new district opening up today. Really excited about that for Mr. Zero in Discord. And let's get this thing started. As you can see, District 303 right here. Real glad to have everybody on board. Thanks for supporting the show. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get right down to business. We've got district opening happening in about 57 minutes. So we've got a lot to discuss. Best places to maybe look to get a plot, maybe some IP strategy, and some potential zoning for the area. So as you can see, we've got a smaller district, but a district nonetheless. And let's get this thing going. First thing I want to point out is Zero's really good tax rates. So you can see the construction tax. So there's two sets of taxes. The production tax over to the left, that's every time you push collect. There will be a tax associated with that. So you can see that the residential is low, commercial is high, while production and industrial, very important in early segments of the game for that specific category to be low, really helps with speed ups. Same with energy. Shifting over to the construction tax, you'll see the pretty much the same categories. This is going to play with early construction, so you want to make sure that these these taxes are low to promote healthy construction. So residential, commercial, office, production and industrial, and energy are all low. You might ask why the municipal is high. Reason being is there's a set number of tax points that need to be a minimum set point of taxes. So one of these taxes has to be high. The smartest choice is municipal. Zero did a very good job setting up that tax policy. So let's jump right into the district. It'll be fun today, guys. I've got the magic board out. We're going to start up in that upper right-hand corner. I've got the magic board for us. First thing I want to talk about, and guys, feel free to ask questions while I'm at. I'll be watching chat quite a bit. First thing I want to talk about is kind of really where a district starts is around the energy plots, right? So, or the resource plots. This district has, I believe, 3 different resource areas. So you can see the one right here, and then we'll shift over. Here's their bigger. This is the bigger resource area, and then there should be one more right around the corner right here. Let's just make sure there's no other ones. I believe those are the only 3. Okay, so that's the only 3 right there. So we're going to start at the top and work our way around, and like I said, I think the resource plots are probably the best places to start. All right. So we're going to talk about, let's break out the magic board here, guys. Make sure this thing's all set up. All right. So I'm going to draw starting in yellow. So first thing we're going to look at is our, whoa, hey, look at that. That's a big pen. Let's erase that a little bit. Magic board, not so magic. Snuck away from me. So these are the resource plots that everybody's talking about, right? So this is where the game really begins. And what I want to talk about is the energy area of influence, right? So I think the best way to show this is probably starting out with the guide. So if you click over to the left, you'll see an in-game guide, and let's start with the famous chart that nobody knows how to read, but it's a pretty interesting chart. So this one right here. So here's where we're talking about. So energy is impacted by production buildings. So production boosts energy. Industrial boosts energy. Energy on energy is a negative, and energy negates residential. So really the 2 buildings that impact or benefit from, because you can see the double-sided arrow, the things that benefit or mutually work together are energy. Energy, industrial, and production. And you can see that through the double-sided lines right here, and right there. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about. Oh, it's not drawing on there, guys. I think the board doesn't work. Well, the board works on my screen. Let's see. Let's pause things real quick. Give me 1 second, see if I can fix that. My magic board isn't working. I see that. I wasn't expecting that, guys. Sorry about the technical issue here. We're gonna change this just a smidge. That's interesting. There we go. There we go. Now the magic board's working, guys. Let's double check that real quick. Perfect. Magic board back up and running. All right, guys. Clear the board. So what I was talking about, energy, industrial, production, those are the buildings that all kind of play together. All right, guys. Enough of the school classroom stuff. Let's jump right to the nitty gritty. So as we can see, our first energy area, this is kind of where I think everybody's going to be attacking first, one of these areas. So this is our energy area. Let's talk about the energy area of influence. So really everything's off of 5 squares. So from this square right here, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in every direction. And like I said, we're going to call this the energy area of influence. So what we have here, what we're going to create is what I like to call a bounding box. So everything inside of this box is going to either impact or be impacted by those energy buildings, right? So let's shift colors over here to an industrial. So obviously those 3 squares, we can't build a 2x2, but we can sure build a 2x1 energy. But let's look at what we've got here. We've got a great location for either an industrial or a production building right here. Got plenty of room in this sector. Plenty of room in this sector. I would probably save this area right here for some sort of POI, right? Up here, I would probably be looking at this for offices. So offices are going to help both industrial and production produce or boost. So this will boost into here. I would probably look at a buffers, or I'm sorry, we still have in our energy area of influence here. So this is a great area for production and industrial. Okay. Then right following that, I would probably start looking at a buffer zone. So this will be, we'll call this, the blue will be either offices, we'll call those a buffer, maybe a municipal, maybe a commercial building. And that's going to go right here. And what we'd really like to see probably here is office buildings so that they come in and boost this area. All right. So again, this energy building, these guys play together real nice, right? They're boosting each other. And really another thing that we need to talk about is, there's 5 industrial buildings. After you go past 5 industrial buildings, you're going to start having negative influence. So be smart when you plan your industrial buildings. Don't put more than 5 in one area. So an example could be something that looks like this, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we switch over to a production building right here with a 1, right? And then, it's tough in this area. You're automatically going to have, in this little area right here, you're automatically going to have more than 5 industrial buildings. You'll just see some negative influence, and that's where that POI comes in. So in this case, I would probably do something like this, add another 5 or another set of buildings right here, and you have got yourself a great kind of industrial complex right there that can be impacted by this POI right here on both sides. Bevan's got a question. Just for players also, IP Does cross districts, so offices from 304 can boost 303. I love that, guys. So you're 100% right, Bevins. I would say, you know, this area right here in district, I believe this is 304. This area right here would be great for offices, which will come in and impact what we see over here. So that is a lot of craziness on the board. I hope you guys can follow the magic board. Let's clear the board and jump to the next sector. So we've kind of talked about this first section over here. Let's move down the board a little bit. So the way I really look at things is I start with the industrials and then fill in afterwards. So let's jump to the next big industrial sector down the road. So we saw that one corner, and then we'll work our way around. So this is the next industrial sector, and let's do the exact same thing. Let's start with circling our energy plots, right? We're going to start with that. Then we'll create that bounding box again, guys. And this is kind of a help for the intro to how IP works, right? So, all right, every plot counts. Remember, even your pathways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let's go the other way. 1, 2, 3. This is a little bit more complex here. Just drawing it in here for you guys so you can kind of get the idea. It's not going to be perfect, but you'll kind of see it. So really, what we're going to look like is something to the shape of this. All of this area will be kind of that area, that industry area of influence. So this would be an example where the backside doesn't really matter. The other district won't play into effect. So again, we're going to kind of erase some of this to get it out of the way. But you can see how I came up with that energy area of influence. And next, we'll look at where would be the best industrials, right? So the next thing we're going to place is our industrials. When I plan things, I like to have room for a 2x2. So I'm probably going to stay away from this area right here, because people are going to be buying up those residential plots or these energy plots, and these plots are going to get more expensive. So each plot gets more expensive with the next plot purchase next to it. So I'm probably staying away from those. I'm probably staying away from this. I'm not going to attack this stuff right away. I might look at this plot right here, this little 2x2 right here. Me personally, I'm staying away from this. I really like this spot right here. And I really like this area right here. So these are areas that I would attack first. Reason being, I'm staying away from the energy, trying to stay away from getting those plots increasing in price, right? And then right after that, if you're looking to build, again, I like to see a good buffer zone, right? So this is what I would kind of constitute that buffer zone, right? So anything in this little area. So that kind of comes back into what we talked about with buying those initial plots. So your first plot, if you are not surrounded by another one, so let's say we're going after this plot right here. That plot is going to start out, I'm probably revealing a little secrets. It's actually going to be lower than 0.06. Taxes are a little bit more beneficial. So you're probably going to see a 0.0675. And that's going to make these plots all more expensive. Also understand that when somebody buys one plot and that transaction takes place, it's going to lock out all of these plots until that transaction has gone through. So if you're finding that your plot isn't going through, your transaction isn't being processed, that's probably because somebody already bought a plot, and it's going to raise the plot prices in this vicinity right here. Okay. So instead of jumping right to that plot, you're going to jump, if you're not able to have that transaction right away, you're going to jump maybe over here where it's not impacted, right? And then you'll start trying to build your 2x2 in a different location. just a little bit of advice there. So you see the blue. Let's see if we can erase some of this stuff. So you saw the blue kind of area of that border area. The next thing that would happen after that border area is going to be, I would say, like a residential, municipal, office-y type area. So you have your industrial production energy zone. Then you have a what I would like to call a border zone. And in a perfect world, after that would be your residential area. Obviously, residential and office impact each other, so you would look to kind of intermingle. So you'd have maybe a residential here, and maybe a commercial to the right of it, so that these two can benefit on the IP. And again, let's go back and revisit that IP chart, guys, because we're starting to talk about other types of buildings. So again, let's see, IP, influence points. Click there. So here's exactly what I'm talking about. See where the office helps the residential and the residential helps the office. So if you're going to set up an office zone, you really, really, really want, you can see that 10 residential buildings are going to impact your office. So those offices are only impacted positively by residential. So you're going to want to have, if you're really trying to build a strong office sector, you're going to want to have residential near that office, but away from the industrial. And that's kind of why that those spheres of influence that I was talking about. Bevins, what do we got here? For the same reason, the gas fee on BNB also shows as a very high figure. The figure is not correct. It's only around 50 cents. So yeah, if a transaction doesn't go through, that's because there's an error. I would just move to a different plot. Don't waste your time sitting there on the perfect plot. We've got a little bit more time. Let's jump over to the next sector, and that's right here. We're going to talk the exact same way that we did. We're going to start with our bounding box. We're just going to, for the sake of brevity, we're just going to kind of draw it in. Remember, it's 5 squares, so it's going to look something like this. Okay, so inside of here is going to be your best locations for industrials. So me, if I'm a guy that's looking for industrials, I'm probably going to be in this area. I'm probably going to be over here. I'm going to try to get into, I like this area. And I'm going to try to stay on the outskirts. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to try to be as far away from that energy as possible. So those are the 4 spots I'm picking for industrial production area. And again, I'm sorry, I even picked the wrong color here, guys. So let's do that. So yeah, your production predominantly, we're going to be in this area. Energy, obviously, me personally, I'm probably not going after this because I can't make a 2x2 out of it. I could make a 2x1. If you're going to get that plot, I would highly recommend you get 2 of them. I'm probably avoiding these guys right here, so I'd put an X on those. Probably an X on these first plots. I believe they're going to get more expensive. Depends on the order of things kind of playing in. So the next thing I think that everybody's really looking at, we got some questions. Lost connection. I'm back now. Great, John. Glad to have you. Just for players also, IP does cross districts. We talked about that. Is there a max amount of plots you can buy? Just when your money runs out, absolutely. For new players, these little 3 plots are great if you only want single plots because you never get negative IP from energy overcrowding. That's actually a really good point, Bevins. So yeah, if you're just looking to do 1 buys for the energy, yeah, you'll within 5 energy, you're going to have negative IP. I'll pull that up real quick. So energy is a really weird one, guys. Energy quickly becomes negative. Oops. With more than 5 buildings, you're already getting negative energy. So if you have, so that's what this is showing right here. So if you have more than 5 buildings next to each other, you'll start receiving a little bit of negative IP, and the more buildings you have, the more negative IP you get. What does that mean? Let's see if I can find something for you guys. I'm going to give you guys a quick example. Let's go look at Bevan's District over there in 305, and let's look at an area of how that would look. Here. So let's take a peek at this area, and let's highlight first the energy buildings. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got 5, 6. So let's look at one of these center buildings right here, and let's look at how this IP is calculated. So within this square right here, let's change that color a little bit. So within 5 squares, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so anything within here. So if we have 5 guys or 5 energy buildings within this border here, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if one more energy building is built, let's say here, 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 anywhere in there, this building right here will start receiving negative energy, negative IP, right? And that will slightly reduce your energy production. The water above hits it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bevins is correct. So looks like these buildings are actually impacting this guy right here slightly. And with energy, it's just going to happen, guys. All right. What other questions do we have out there? John, I know you had a bunch of questions in chat. I wanted to save them for the video. Fire away. Let's talk about offices. Good place to put offices. That's kind of a hot button topic. Big global fund, $1 million in global, being distributed by not a lot of players right now. So good time to grab globals. I think they've been answered, to be honest. Well, I'm glad to hear that, John. So I think, as this is a beginner video, everybody wants to know where to start in the game. So in my opinion, starting with industrial, you want to start with your basic materials. Don't jump right into production buildings. So if you're just first player out there, first thing you're going to want to build is a smelter and a sand plant. That's the basic building blocks of everything. Let me throw up MCP. Let me throw up another helping tool real quick. I'll throw that up, but long story short, I would start with industrial buildings, save the production buildings until you have a good industrial base built up. Next thing I'd probably build is that global office, and once the district fund builds up enough, I would probably be looking at local offices. I'm gonna bring this up here in 1 second. So this is a great tool. Maybe I can grab it over there, maybe not. There it is. All right, mcphq.io. mcphq.io. Great resource. This is going to tell you kind of what it takes to build things and what your collections are going to be. So here's the industrial sector. Let's shrink that down a little bit. There you go. All right, so for the industrial sector, this is what it takes to build. So here's what I want people to understand. So this really lays out your wood requirements and your sand requirements, right? So if you'll notice, when you're building your buildings, kind of plan according to what you're trying to build. So if you're trying to build, wood and build industrial buildings, you notice that right away your wood requirement is 2 times as big as sand. Um, Now you want to know how much you collect. You want to be in balance, is what I'm trying to say. So a wood building typically will produce about 300 per collect, and a sand building will probably do about 130 per collect. So you can right now see that this will take about 3 collections, and this will take about 2.5. So one of each right off the get-go is good, but you want to make sure, I like to convert everything into collections, amount of collections, right? So that I take 828. Let's see if we can do a little math over here. So I would take 828 and divide by my collect. And I'll do that for you real quick. So 8, oops, let's get rid of this. So let's do it real quick. 828 divided by 350. So I already know that it's going to be 2.36 collections to build the next building, right? So if 473, we can take a look at that real quick. 473 divided by 125. So that's 3.74 collects. So for sand, I'm already at 3.74. That means I'm going to need to build more mixers than I am smelters. That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is what are my basic requirements, right? Let's pull off of this. So another, and that's a little counterintuitive. You need to understand that also a basic building, you need wood, sand, and metal. This is a smelter. This is a smelter. This is a mixing plant. So right off the bat, just off of that, I would probably build 2 smelters to 1 mixer. That's where I'm starting. All right. Where are we building those mixers? That's the next question you should be asking yourself. So that's what we covered right at the beginning of the video, if you guys recall. And that's right here in this energy area of influence. If you remember, so we're building in, this area. I like this area. Oops, just lost it. I like this area. I like this area. This area over here. That's where we're building that smelters, right? What else do we got out there, guys? We have any more questions out there? I know there's a lot of questions in chat. I tried to answer a lot of them. That's really what I wanted to cover today, was kind of talk about where's the good spots to start, where's the juicy spots, and what you want to think about is where are people not going to be. So I think the goal is to grab up those juicy plots for 0.0675. I think you're looking for really looking to grab as many plots at 0.0675. I mean, if we look at just the floor price of plots right now, let's take a look. So the floor price in District 304, you can see it right now is 0.19. So if you're buying plots at 0.06, you can easily double your money, maybe even triple your money. So if you look at District 304, which is a neutral district, all taxes are set at 50%, and you look at the taxation differences between 304 and 305, look at what happens to the floor price. Quickly rises to 0.35, and within a couple notches, we are sitting at essentially a 0.5 floor. Arguably a 0.5 floor. This listing just came on the horizon here. So to answer your question, John, I think the taxes are absolutely great, absolutely beneficial for the builder and for producing. The district owner has talked about, maintaining those taxes and not doing a bait and switch. So it's a really good idea to know who your district owner is, etc., and that helps a lot. So I see very good things happening for District 303. Kraken, isn't it also a good idea to be as far away from others as possible? So that's kind of a double-edged sword, right? So other people, as long as they are helping your IP, it's a good thing. The trick is to get there first. So you want to be as far. So this goes back to what I was talking about earlier. So if somebody buys a plot right here, oops, let's change that color. So somebody buys this plot. This area right here is going to get more expensive. So right off the get-go in district opening, somebody buys a plot there. My next spot that I'm looking, I would be looking for a spot probably like right here. Okay. Because I want to be outside of this area of influence so that those prices don't go up. However, when the map is all set up, you really want to have influence boosting from other players. Bevan, see it opening. Great job, Eric. Must get food. Of course, we got to get ready for got to get ready for this opening. I've still got about 6-7 minutes to chat, and then I'm going to get ready for the opening as well. Do we have any more questions out there, guys? So I think my strategy personally, I'll kind of share it with you guys. I know. Everybody always says I always do a fake closing. I've still got 6 minutes, guys. I'll chat for 6 more minutes and kind of go from there. But my first strategy is going to be I'm going to observe what happens in these industrial areas. So personally, I'm going to be looking at those. If nobody snatches up those plots, I'm probably snatching one of those because I'd like to have more of an industrial sector. I'm going over here. I think everybody's going to rush to this area for energy. So I think those buildings will be locked out initially. So I'm probably not even going to focus on this area. I'm going to let everybody else fight over this area. I kind of like the off the beaten path spots. So this area is really attractive to me. I'm going to be looking right here. As long as nobody has purchased anything, I'll try to be the first one in one of these spots. And if all of those spots get taken up right away, I'm just going on a free-for-all. I'm going to be looking where people won't be. So like Kraken mentioned, you don't want to be too close to other people. On district opening, that's very true. So if, like as I said, if somebody buys this plot right here, I'm going to be looking over here. I'm going to be looking for places where I can get good IP. I generally like to be out in the middle of the district. So versus if I'm going to pick one side versus the other, this area right here and this area is in essence less attractive than this area in the center because I can get IP boost from here. I can get IP boost from here, and here. So center of the map is generally more attractive than the outskirts of the map. Usually the outskirts will be cheaper. These are just all factors that you need to factor in. Should I always try to get a 2x2? Really depends on your strategy. So if you need to right size yourself, you need to understand that how big do you want to get? What is your budget? So that's a much larger question. 2x2s are obviously worth a little bit more. The cheapest time, there's no time cheaper than district opening to buy a 2x2. So if this is a time when you want to do that, then absolutely, that's what I would go for. But understand that those plots will get fairly expensive. You're probably looking at 0.5 to 0.6 BNB minimum to get a 2x2. Not always most lucrative if you're just looking to flip land or If you're looking to have a smaller operation, you don't necessarily need that 2x2, and you can very much, especially in the start of the game, you can get by with 1x. So I don't know that you necessarily should be looking for a 2x2 right off the get-go if that's not your overall strategy and in your budget. Got 3 minutes left, guys. I guess with this I'll do an official closing there, John, and that is just make sure you follow the channel. We'll post in Discord, always open in Discord, and I'll be on Twitter as well. So really appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate the questions, and that's what I've got for you guys. Thank you.